Oh, yeah. Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. He is Johnny North. We are here with you every week. RingsideReport.net is the website. Go there. Check us out. Thanks for watching here on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, if you're listening to us on the radio or on podcast, thank you for joining us. Pro Wrestling Talk here over the next hour. We got a lot to get to in the world of WWE and AEW. We are finally in the month of May. I'm pretty excited about being done with the month of April. Finally, May. We've got some excitement. We've got some action. We started April with WrestleMania, but it's pretty much been dead ever since, kind of quiet. Raw and SmackDown and Dynamite still happening, but we've got some big events coming up here in the month of May. We've got WWE Money in the Bank a week away now. Sunday, May 10th, WWE Money in the Bank. We've got one more week of Raw and SmackDown before the big Money in the Bank show. We'll be doing a live watch-along on YouTube for Money in the Bank. The whole show will be here with you watching the show, so we're excited about that. Also, AEW Double or Nothing on the 23rd of May, not to mention all the watch-alongs we have planned for the UFC 249. Really feels like we're back to normal, at least a version of normal here, Big Johnny, because we have a full slate of wrestling activity coming up this month, not only with the WWE, not only their TV shows, but AEW as well with a pay-per-view. And the UFC being back as well feels really good because it's a lot of action. It's not just pro wrestling, but, you know, UFC was off for the entire month of April, and here we go. They're back now.
Well, WWE, AEW, they haven't really stopped, right? They did a bunch of tape shows. WrestleMania was taped, so now the environment's changed a little bit. Now we get live every so often, so that's kind of nice, and it seems we're going to get pay-per-views back. Will they be live, though? Because I guess they've already taped Money in the Bank, so I don't know how that's going to work out.
I think they've taped the Money in the Bank match. I don't know if they've taped the entirety of Money in the Bank. I'm guessing that part of it will be live. I think the matches that are going to be in the Performance Center will be live. I'm hoping they'll be live, but you really don't know. We know we have Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. That's official. They had a contract signing this week on Raw that I thought was not terrible. I actually thought that was not bad. We could talk about that, the promo from Seth Rollins and the promo there from Drew McIntyre before the attack from Drew, which followed with Murphy attacking Drew. Of course, Buddy Murphy, Seth Rollins' buddy, will be wrestling Drew McIntyre coming up on Raw Monday night. I can tell you what else is happening Raw Monday night. We're going to have the Street Profits versus the Viking Raiders for the Raw Tag Team Championship. That's a pretty cool match. A last chance gauntlet for the last spot in Money in the Bank set for Monday Night Raw. We don't know the participants for that, but we do know that Apollo Crews will not be in Money in the Bank. He's been pulled from the match after suffering an injury. And I say that in quotes, not a real injury, a fake injury, a worked injury, a storyline injury. I know I can't say fake, and some people don't understand when I say worked, so I had to come up with a term that everybody could be down with. A storyline injury, right, Johnny North? Apollo Crews isn't really hurt. His knee is okay, suffering that injury in the match with Andrade, the real Andrade, original Andrade, the U.S. champion, this week on Raw.
You don't have to worry. No one's going to hate you any more than they already do. I think that terminology is fine.
Okay, so I said the right words there. It was all right. Andrade was double booked on Raw this week. He wrestled in 6-man, and then he also wrestled Apollo Crews. They are lacking stars in the WWE. I wonder when the big guns are going to come out to play. We're going to have Ricochet and Cedric Alexander versus Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne in a rematch Monday night. They beat these two jobbers 2 weeks ago and now they are back for some reason. MVP was like, these are my guys, and they're going to wrestle you again next week on Raw. No idea why that's happening. I saw Shane Thorne wrestle on NXT this week, losing to my main man, Dexter Lumis, the future of pro wrestling. Everybody loves Dexter Lumis.
Well, it's just been kind of crappy so far how they've used the NXT talent on Raw. They've pretty much just been used to job out to all the Raw talent. So hopefully in this case, they're actually building up some NXT talent to actually beat the Raw guys.
Yeah, right. Come on. You think Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne are going to beat Rick O'Shea and Cedric Alexander? I do not.
If they got MVP in their corner, I think there's going to be some trickery involved.
Okay, I don't know. I doubt it. This week on Raw, we had MVP hosting the VIP Lounge. They're using MVP quite a bit. They don't have many people there on the show, so, you know, Rey Mysterio was the guest. Aleister Black was next. Apollo Crews showed up. MVP talked about the Money in the Bank, and then Zelina Vega and the three Andrades showed up. Austin Theory, Andrade, and Angel Garza. And then we get into a six-man tag team match, playa. And it was Apollo, Rey, and Aleister beating Andrade, Angel, and Austin Theory. Crews with a nice powerbomb there on Andrade for the win. But of course, that nice moment for Apollo Crews was short-lived. This short push for Apollo Crews, pretty short-lived, because Andrade beats Apollo Crews later on in the night after Apollo Crews said, well, I beat you here. Let me wrestle you for the U.S. title. Usually that match would happen next week, but they decided, well, we have nothing else, so let's do it here tonight, pal. And then Andrade beats Apollo Crews. When the match ends, I guess it was if we're talking MMA terms, it was a TKO due to injury because Apollo Crews couldn't continue. He had that knee injury. He went off the top rope and missed, and then sold a knee injury after that. Andrade attacked his knee, and the referee stopped the match, which leads us to the Money in the Bank, where Apollo Crews now out of the match. So here is a guy who, gets put in this big spot, this big match. You think, oh, maybe they're going to push Apollo Crews. He won a match to qualify. Who did he beat to qualify for this thing?
MVP.
Not the biggest win, but still, he won a match on TV to qualify. He goes into the Money in the Bank where really they might push a new guy. They might want to give it to Apollo Crews. You never know. I don't really know who's going to win Money in the Bank this year. We can take guesses in a little bit here, Johnny, but I was a little disappointed that Apollo Crews, a guy who is very talented, been underused by the WWE for a long time, wasn't released when they released a lot of their underused talent. Now, especially since the big stars on Raw, Randy Orton, AJ Styles, Edge, those guys aren't there. Kevin Owens, not on Monday Night Raw. You would think they'd try to elevate some new people like Apollo Crews. Here's a guy, talented, been on the roster for a while, deserves a break, and they just take it all away from him by having him lose to Andrade, get injured in the match, and then get taken out of Money in the Bank. Now, they could save it. He could come back from this fake injury, attack Andrade, become U.S. champion down the road. That would be huge for him if he became U.S. champion. And really, why not? Because the U.S. title on Andrade right now is doing nothing. But I'm not so sure that they will save this for Apollo Crews. And I was disappointed that here's a guy, works hard, has good matches, and they just kind of take all the shine away from him. They take him out of Money in the Bank for no reason in particular here.
Well, I think they're still pushing him. They're just not pushing him to the end. I think they're just pushing him in a new direction. I mean, you could see with that promo that he was doing, it seemed like there was a bit of a character switch. Like, it seemed like he's a bit more cocky, very arrogant. Like, to go up, he's the one who, antagonized Andrade with the slap. Like, he's the one who really pushed that to happen. So maybe they're changing his character. Maybe they're giving him a reason to be hateful because he lost everything, and now he's going to come back as this angry person. I think they're still going to push him. It's just in a different way.
I hope you're right. Because I like Apollo Crews. I always have. He's a talented guy. And it's strange to me that he's there and they really have never done anything with him. I feel like he was a guy that was brought up to the main roster way too soon. They really didn't get him going with a major run in NXT before they just kind of hotshotted him up to the main roster, and really for no reason. He's a guy who would probably do better in NXT right now. At least he'd be featured a little bit more prominently, because on Raw he's really been lost in the shuffle. And here, even further, just there goes Apollo.
Well, he's a great talent. There's no question about that. I think he would have been great in NXT, but in terms of his character, there's not much to it, and they're trying to develop that now. They did a bit with him and Titus, but that only lasted so long, and now they're going a new direction. I still think they're...
All right, well, we'll see. Johnny North still has hope in the future of Apollo. I hope the WWE does something with him. They have taken him out of the Money in the Bank ladder match. Who will take his place? There's going to be a last chance gauntlet. We did see the return of Jinder Mahal this week on Raw. He's got a new haircut, looking super jacked as always. He beats Akira Tozawa. And a lot of people are wondering, with Apollo getting taken out of the match, Jinder returning on Raw, all in the same night, is this a way to insert Jinder Mahal into Money in the Bank and do a storyline here with Drew McIntyre, the new WWE champion, who Jinder knows very well because they were in 3MB together for so long, the three-man band, a group led by recently released Heath Slater. But I don't really want to watch Jinder Mahal, Drew McIntyre in a long or short program, really. Like, I'm not into the idea at all. I don't want to see them wrestle, but people seem to think that's where it's going. Johnny North, is that where it's going? Like, I'm looking at Money in the Bank right now. The participants in this match: Daniel Bryan, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Baron Corbin, Otis, who qualified in the main event of SmackDown, beating Dolph Ziggler. Not a great finish there. The Caterpillar, I don't know about that, but Otis is in this match, and now somebody else on Raw. My best guess is that it will be Jinder Mahal, and looking at the field, I could see him winning and going on to a program with Drew McIntyre.
Yeah, he would be very likely. I mean, if you look at it, it's very face-heavy right now, the Money in the Bank participants, so another heel would make a lot of sense, and Jinder, he just came back. It would make a lot of sense for him to be in it. However, they should also put in the people that lost, like it's the last chance Money in the Bank gauntlet, so the people who lost should get another shot.
Okay. But it's not clear who's in this thing. It's probably going to be a long match on Monday night, right? A gauntlet match usually takes up a good chunk of time. You're talking about guys that lost. Okay, MVP. Who else has lost? Who else could be involved in this thing?
Well, Murphy would be a good choice because he lost to Mysterio, but he's wrestling the main event, though, against McIntyre.
Right.
So that's unfortunate.
So book this thing. Give me 4 or 5 guys. What do you think, man? We have what? So say MVP's in it. Say Jinder's in it. Who else is going to be in the gauntlet match? Andrade? Austin Theory? Didn't Austin Theory lose a qualifying match?
To Aleister Black.
There you go. So Austin Theory will be in this thing. Looking at the people that are in the Money in the Bank ladder match right now. Daniel Bryan. Do you see him winning the Money in the Bank briefcase and then going on to challenge either Braun or maybe The Fiend after Money in the Bank? I do not. I don't think Daniel Bryan is headed for the Money in the Bank victory this year.
No, I don't see it either, but he'll definitely have some of the best highlights, though, because it's Daniel Bryan. It's hard to hide him in these kind of matches.
Daniel Bryan had a good match with King Corbin on SmackDown this week. That's how good Daniel Bryan is. He can even have a good match with King Corbin. that he won by disqualification when Corbin threw a ladder at him. And then Cesaro and Shinsuke attacked Daniel Bryan. I guess they're with Corbin now for some reason. I don't know where Sammy is, but... So Cesaro and Shinsuke attack Corbin, and they're setting up a match next week where it'll be King Corbin, Cesaro, and Shinsuke versus Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, and a mystery partner in a 6-man tag. Who's going to be the mystery partner?
Well, I think they set it up quite well that it's going to be Jeff Hardy, no?
I don't know. He's got a thing with Sheamus.
Right, but I feel like that's for the pay-per-view. Because they've been building Sheamus, keeps destroying everyone, squashing people pretty much. So I feel like that's the pay-per-view match, but I think Jeff needs a match, and that this is a perfect slot for him. A tag match doesn't have to do too much.
That's a pretty awesome team right there. Drew Gulak, Daniel Bryan, Jeff Hardy versus King Corbin, Shinsuke Nakamura, and Cesaro. That's a match I'll watch on SmackDown, no problem. I just don't see Daniel Bryan winning Money in the Bank. Ditto for Rey Mysterio. What's Rey going to do? Go on and face Drew McIntyre? I don't think so. Aleister Black, he's a babyface right now. Drew is a babyface. I don't think either of us see Drew losing the championship to Seth Rollins here at Money in the Bank, so I don't see Aleister Black winning. Baron Corbin to go up against Braun Strowman. I don't see it. Otis, come on. I don't even know why Otis is in this thing. I would have put Ziggler in it, but okay, they're trying Otis out. I really think whoever wins this gauntlet, last chance gauntlet, is going to wind up winning Money in the Bank. And I think it's going to be Jinder Mahal. Unless somebody shows up like AJ Styles or Kevin Owens or somebody like that. Is that possible? Where are those guys?
Well, I think it would be fantastic if the Ultimate Opportunist came involved in this and won the match that he's won before.
The rated R superstar Edge. Edge? That'd be awesome, but you think it's going to happen? Imagine Edge and Money in the Bank winning Money in the Bank. The original Mr. Money in the Bank. He made it famous.
I would do it, but I don't know if they're going to do it, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, and still, we're not sure where everybody is. We assume it's travel restrictions, but as far as, the individual cases and where people are, I'm not really sure. Doesn't Kevin Owens live in Florida? Doesn't Sami Zayn live in Florida? Why aren't they showing up to the tapings? Sami's the Intercontinental Champion. Kevin just beat Seth at WrestleMania. Why are they not on Raw or SmackDown? Is it because they don't want to leave their house because of coronavirus?
It's very possible. Edge apparently has to travel pretty far, though, I think. He said he traveled a couple hours just to make it to WrestleMania, so I guess that's why. I think Randy, too. Randy lives, in St. Louis, no?
I don't know if he still lives in St. Louis, but I don't think he lives in Florida. AJ Styles, I think, lives in Georgia. It's not that far. But hey, sometimes you got to sacrifice for the business, brother. Talk about the miles, it's nothing compared to the travel that they normally do, constantly on the road. So you make one long trip. Jon Moxley lives in Las Vegas, and he said on Dynamite this week that he's going to be driving across the country to Jacksonville, Florida from Vegas. That is a long trip. Driving to show up on the live episode of Dynamite coming up on Wednesday. Jon Moxley can do it.
That's good, but JR is doing one better. JR is flying to Atlanta to meet Shivani, and then they're driving all the way down to Florida. That's pretty amazing.
Why is that more impressive? Because he's flying? It's scarier to fly?
Well, and given JR's age, yeah, it's really scary.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little wild. I don't know what's going on here, Big Johnny. On the one hand, I think, yeah, cool, let's go, travel. On the other hand, I think, maybe they should just be staying safe.
It's easy for us to say this. We're not traveling.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm still going to work. I'm still leaving the house, so I have less sympathy for people that don't want to leave their house and don't want to go to work because I'm doing it, So it's like, I'm doing it. I'm going to work. I'm seeing other wrestlers show up at the tapings and go to work. I'm just wondering where everybody else is. I understand if you're Roman Reigns and you've got serious health concerns and you're worried about it, but some of the other people, I don't know. Some people, if you don't have health concerns, if you don't have conditions that may make you more susceptible for, serious complications with coronavirus, I'd kind of like to see some of these wrestlers making the trip, man. I don't know. I understand them not wanting to, but at the same time, I'm also seeing a lot of wrestlers showing up week in and week out, and it makes you wonder where everybody else is.
Well, I think it's great that WWE let them decide if you don't want to come, don't come, and that some wrestlers decided not to come because it's not just the wrestlers for a lot of them. A lot of them, it's their loved ones, and they worry about that.
Yeah, and I understand that. I don't know what everybody's individual cases are, so I'm not gonna talk about any one individual in particular. I'm just saying that when I look at Monday Night Raw, it's seriously lacking in star power, right? AJ Styles is not there. I'd like to see AJ Styles on TV. I get that he's not on TV. I wonder when he will be back on TV. Kevin Owens, same deal. I'd like to see him on Raw. He'd make it a much better show because right now what we have is not great, and I'm not really happy that I'm sitting here a week out from Money in the Bank predicting Jinder Mahal to be my Money in the Bank winner to go on to feud with Drew McIntyre as WWE Champion. I saw Vince McMahon is blaming a lot of the, undercard roster for the poor ratings and the poor interest in Monday Night Raw. Well, if you had a hot champion, the undercard wouldn't mean anything. Why don't you blame your champion? Why don't you blame yourself for putting that guy in that position? A guy who can't talk, can't really wrestle. I mean, he's okay. He's solid. He's a solid B+. But as far as a hot champion that's going to pop a rating, get out of here. Drew McIntyre isn't that guy. I don't dislike Drew McIntyre. I just don't see him as a WWE champion that's going to pull people in to watch every single week. When I watch Drew McIntyre, I'm not entertained. I'm just not. I'm mildly okay, what's this? And then after about a minute, I zone out. It's hard to keep my attention during a Drew McIntyre match. I try to be interested. I try to like it. But my God, it's like watching paint dry sometimes. It is boring as hell. That's Wrestling Uncensored. This is what we do on the show. I'm going to tell you how I feel truly. And no one else is saying this about Drew McIntyre. No one else is calling him out and the WWE out for putting this guy on top. Is anybody really digging Drew McIntyre as a champion? Is anybody really enjoying these promos? I'm not. Are you blown away by any of his matches? Has he had a 5-star classic? Come on. Let's be real here about what is important on a wrestling show. I can't believe the audacity of Vince McMahon to start blaming, new guys that he's bringing up prematurely from NXT. Oh, they're the reason why? You're saying Angel Garza and Austin Theory are the reason why Raw sucks? I don't think so. If you had a solid main event, the rest of the card wouldn't matter. Drew McIntyre and Seth Rollins for the title and Money in the Bank. Does anyone care? Does anyone want to see that? Seth actually cut a good promo this week on Raw. Finally. Been waiting for this. I like that promo from Seth, talking about the burden of being WWE champion, saying, Drew, I want to take that burden away from you. That's my burden to carry. You're not a leader, Drew McIntyre. I'm here to lead you. And what Seth is really saying is, you're not the top guy on this show. I'm the top guy. Being champion is hard. It's not for you. Let me do it for you. I'm Seth Rollins. I'm the Monday Night Messiah. This is my show. I get that you're champion right now, but we all can see it's a little ridiculous. Let me carry the burden of being champion. Let me be your leader. I thought that was great. It was in character, but it had elements of reality. I thought that Seth Rollins promo was great. All Drew McIntyre could say was, "Oh, Seth Rollins, you're full of beep." I can't say the word because we're on radio in some markets, right? But full of the S word. So he swore. All he could say is, a swear word to try and be, scary and risky. And he's like, "Seth, you should stop talking." He did say that the fans turned on Seth and everyone else turned on Seth too. And, it's true, the fans did turn on Seth, but Drew didn't say anything groundbreaking in that promo. Then he attacks Seth Rollins. Murphy attacks Drew. Seth attacks Drew. They lay him out, and that's the end of the show. Not great. Not great. Seth was good, said some good stuff, but am I wrong in my assessment of Drew McIntyre, Johnny North? What do you think about Drew McIntyre's run so far as WWE Champion? I was not with the decision to give him the Rumble win. I was not with the decision to give him the win over Brock. And I'm not really enjoying this title run. And clearly, the ratings are indicating that other people aren't really enjoying it either.
Well, it's really hard to judge because this whole situation where there's no fans. So to say that he's not a good champion, he's not bringing in the houses. No one's bringing in the houses right now. So it's really hard to say that. To say that he's not a great champion, it's hard to really judge a lot of these matches. It's not the same kind of match when you don't have that kind of atmosphere. When it's just quiet after a lot of moves or just a lot of noise, it's really hard to get into matches where there's really not much energy whatsoever. So it's really hard to say Drew McIntyre isn't a good champion, where I think he has a pretty good excuse, like most people right now, why he's probably not bringing in the ratings, because the shows aren't fun to watch.
There are parts of the show that are fun to watch, though, and those parts don't involve Drew McIntyre, right? Okay, we can say that the shows as a whole maybe haven't been the best. Maybe Raw and SmackDown overall isn't a great experience every week. But we can agree that there are parts of each show that are enjoyable and fun to watch. And those parts rarely involve Drew McIntyre. This week he got lucky because he was sitting across the ring from Seth Rollins, who actually cut a very good promo. But usually the Drew McIntyre segments are a snoozer.
He's in a tough spot right here because he doesn't have a lot of people to work with. He needed Seth Rollins to work with, because working with guys like Andrade and Angel Garza, no offense to them, but like I said before, at WrestleMania they lost to the tag team champions, or Austin Theory did with Garza, in 5 minutes. And we're supposed to believe them against Drew McIntyre? It was a crummy deal he got put in.
I suppose, Johnny North, it's not completely Drew's fault, but as a champion, I'm surprised that Vince McMahon seems to be blaming some of the undercard guys rather than the champion, because to me, most of the blame should go on the guy on top. That's traditionally how it's gone in the wrestling business. If business is down, you look to the guy on top, and that's Drew McIntyre right now, leading the Raw brand as WWE Champion. My highlights of Raw: well, first of all, Denzel DeJournette back on Raw, Johnny North, my favorite jobber. I like that we're getting to know the jobbers now. It feels like old school wrestling, like WWF Superstars, where you knew the jobbers because they were jobbing every week because they wrestled all the time. Now we know all the jobbers. We got Denzel DeJournette. We got Tahuti Miles. We've got Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. We've got so many jobbers that we're familiar with now. It's fun. Of course, on AEW, you've got Pineapple Pete and the whole array of jobbers that they have there. So I like that we're getting to know the jobbers because of the limited roster. That's a plus, I suppose. The other highlight for me was seeing Ever Rise on Monday Night Raw, a great Canadian team, Ever Rise from Quebec, from Montreal, losing to Rick O'Shea and Cedric Alexander after a nice double team maneuver there. Really hell of a finish on that match. Good match. Ever Rise didn't get squashed. They seemed like they were a tag team, just there to lose to Cedric and Ricochet, but they still got some offense in. Johnny North, didn't you wrestle? You've wrestled one of these guys at least, right?
Well, both in a sense. Like Martel, it was in like a Money in the Bank cash-in kind of thing. And Parker, yeah, it was like a tournament final. I wrestled him. It was a good match. And yeah, they're great guys. I mean, it was a great moment for them to get that Raw debut for them. And to not get squashed like all the other NXT talent. Like, it just went to show that hopefully it's not going to happen right away, but eventually, like a lot of tag teams that work their way up, eventually it'll turn around for them.
Yeah, hopefully. You know, I'd like to see them succeed. Good Canadian guys. You've wrestled them, you know. It's always good to see those guys get a shot. I was happy to see them show up on Monday Night Raw this week. The Viking Raiders will get a shot at the Street Profits for the Raw Tag Team titles. Will the Raid regain the titles here on Monday? I think they will.
I believe it's not a title match, though. I mean, I think they'll win, but the titles are on the line.
So what's the point?
They just said it's a match. I think to eventually get a title match at the pay-per-view.
Oh, really? They're going to do the match on Monday, then do it again on Sunday?
And then let's do it again the following Monday as well.
Yeah, the rematch, playa. Okay, great. All right, Big Johnny, we got a lot more pro wrestling to get to. AEW doing some big things, and the WWE has released some wrestlers, some big names this week, and furloughed somebody that's been with the company for 35 years, might not be coming back. So we'll talk about that as well when we come back, and some incredible matches that AEW has on Dynamite coming up. And we know the finals for the TNT title tournament. So much going on here in pro wrestling. Stay with us here. Short pause for the radio side. It's Wrestling Uncensored. You know it. You know that it's Wrestling Uncensored, Big John. Hey! Fucking Gerald Briscoe. You want to disappear? Where are you going?
Well, you have to read a commercial, so yeah.
Okay. Well, bye then. See you later, John.
Goodbye.
Because I'm here to tell you about our friends over at Stitcher, okay? At the Ringside Report Network, we've been producing podcasts for about 15 years, and many of you have been using Stitcher to stream or download our shows. Wrestling Uncensored, Ringside Report MMA, Stitcher offering you the Ringside Report universe as part of their sponsorship of our work, a special offer on the premium version of their service. Now, besides all of our podcasts, you can listen to over 100,000 podcasts on your iPhone, Android, tablet, PC, Amazon Echo device, or in your car on demand, ad-free with Stitcher Premium. You also get access to Stitcher Originals, bonus episodes, comedy albums, and more. Just $4.99 a month, $34.99 a year. What you want to do is you go to Stitcher.com/premium, use the promo code RINGSIDE for a free month when you sign up to Stitcher Premium. Stitcher.com/premium, promo code RINGSIDE for a free month of Stitcher Premium. Go right now.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? And go to IPVanish as well. VPN.ringsidereport.net. IPVanish, it's what you need to protect yourself on the internet. Do not get hacked. Everybody needs a VPN. We use IPVanish. Go check it out right now. Help out the Ringside Report Network. Go to VPN.ringsidereport.net. IPVanish. Okay?
So you remember that without the paper. It's good. No reading with that one.
I'll tell you a secret, John. The IPVanish, I just don't have a new copy.
Okay.
I needed a new copy because the promo was for April, and I don't have the May copy. I haven't been forwarded the May copy for IPVanish from our promotions department. Okay?
Well, eventually, right?
Man, I've been doing too many shows. It's like hard on my voice.
You're dying there a bit, but it's okay. You'll make it to Money in the Bank at least.
You know it, brother. I'll be all good for that, but Irreparable Damage came out this week. Dave and Johnny Live. Ringside Report MMA. This is the fourth show I'm doing this week.
Well, it's usually how it works, no?
Yeah, but, I'm staying busy. Go to irreparabledamageshow.com if you want to see the other show I do. It's not part of the Ringside Report Network, but you can check it out, irreparabledamageshow.com. We're on video now. You could see the video version of the show, kind of like this, but it's about stuff that has nothing to do with wrestling or MMA. Have you watched the show yet, John?
No, but I watched Ringside Report.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, as long as you like some of the shows that I do, John, when I'm not here with you. Most of the shows I do with you. That's the way I like it. Me and Johnny. Okay?
Well, you're not doing the watch along with me, that's for sure.
I'm doing the
For
money
the,
I'm doing the Money in the
UFC.
Bank watch along with you.
For UFC, though, you got... hopefully Fred's going to be there for that one.
Yeah, Fred will be there. That was like a
Okay.
one-time thing. I don't think we're going to have that problem with Fred ever again. That was like a one-time issue. I think it was an internet issue in my area. There was like outages and stuff. Things happen, But I think next week we'll be all good on Ringside with Fred. We had a show with AJ and everything. Glenn McKenzie was on the show. Good times. Check it out. Ringside Report. Like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And when you subscribe, click the bell so you get notifications every time that we are on. We had a new episode of Ringside Report this week, as we do every Thursday at 8 p.m. We were actually a little late because we had some technical issues that we were talking about there. But the show is on right now, and you can check it out. It was a good show. It was a good time. Talked about the UFC. This coming Thursday, 8 p.m., we're going to be doing our UFC 249 preview show. So it'll be our last show before the pay-per-view. We'll do the watch-along for the pay-per-view, but definitely, if you want to get our picks, our predictions for the fights, watch and listen, or, just listen. Don't just watch, because if you just watched, you'd really miss out on a lot of content, because you'd just be seeing us. So watch and listen. You want to hear our voices. Right, John? You know what I'm saying? Watch and listen.
It would be hilarious just watching you guys and not listening, just try to figure out what's going on.
Yeah, just seeing our reactions, I guess, from the fights, when somebody gets knocked out, something like that, but it's not really, okay. Yeah. Let's get back to the show, John. How about it?
Well, just one thing, like ROH, apparently they canceled their shows from June, and that's kind of interesting, where they still have a TV deal, and it seems like wrestling promotions that have TV deals are going to still do shows, but not ROH.
So they canceled all their shows through the month of June, so they're not going to be back in business until July, you're saying?
That's what it looks like.
At least.
The earliest.
Right.
It would be July. They might push it back even further, too.
Interesting news. All right, John, let's get back to the show.
Okay.
All right, welcome back. It is Wrestling Uncensored. I am Dave Simon. Johnny North is right here with me. We are here with you every week talking professional wrestling. We've got so much more to get to. RingsideReport.net is our website. If you're watching, don't forget to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel. Go to our website, RingsideReport.net, for all the info on that. Releases this week in the WWE. Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion. He was in the WWE for, 2 matches? They did that one shot in Mexico City with Cain on a live event, and then they did another one there in Saudi Arabia when Cain tapped out to Brock Lesnar, which was one of the least believable matches WWE put on in a long time. Cain Velasquez tapping out to Brock Lesnar in like 90 seconds. Didn't believe that sequence whatsoever. Nevertheless, Cain Velasquez, I guess, was still under contract with WWE. He underwent knee surgery, but I would assume if you still have him under contract and you still have to pay him, you're paying really for nothing, and it's probably pretty expensive. He's not going to be showing up anytime soon. I wasn't really shocked at the release, but it does make me wonder, what is the next move for Cain Velasquez? Dana White says he's retired from the UFC, so you think he stays in pro wrestling? Are his knees even able to get back in the ring at this point. I know he had knee surgery. Maybe, physically he's just not able.
Well, if he wants to continue down the wrestling route, AAA apparently started doing the empty arena shows, and he wrestled for AAA, so I could see that happen. And then maybe if he's lucky, AEW would pick him up because he was friends with Cody. He wrestled with Cody in AAA one time, so it's not impossible. But I could also see WWE pick him up again as well once business starts to pick up again.
Yeah, I could see Cain Velasquez back in a wrestling ring. I wouldn't mind seeing him back in an octagon as well. Curtis Axel released by the WWE. I was a bit surprised that they released the Axeman. He's been with the company for so long. I remember he was a guy that helped The Rock come back to the ring when Rock was training for those matches with Cena. He was training with Joe Hennig, a.k.a. Curtis Axel, the son of Mr. Perfect. Joe Hennig, I have no idea why they never used his real name, Joe Hennig. I feel like if they would have just gone with his real name, he would have had a much better run rather than the Michael McGillicuddy and then Curtis Axel names that they gave him. I don't think either personas really worked. I think he was a solid in-ring wrestler, but it just never worked out for him in the WWE, and now released after a very long time with the company. I mean, this guy's been with WWE for, it's got to be close to a decade, right, if not more?
I feel it might be a little bit more. I think maybe we only saw him in the main roster around 2011, 2010, but still. Yeah, he was there for a long time. But the thing is, sad part is, they weren't using him. When was the last time they used him? I can't remember. So, I mean, they're just cutting away the people that they aren't using pretty much.
He was signed to a developmental deal in 2007. Started working in FCW in 2008. Made his main roster debut in 2010. So, yeah, 10 years on the main roster. Well, over 10 years with the WWE. The guy is a third-generation wrestler. 40 years old. I thought he was younger than that. I didn't realize he was 40. I wonder what
good for his age.
Yeah, he really does. I wonder what happens to Axel. I feel like he's still got a lot to give to the wrestling business. I don't think he's done. He could do a lot. He could be in AEW and do well.
Yeah, but that just adds another name to the list where it's like, oh, this another guy would be good in AEW. Yeah, but so many other guys as well. So, again, they can't sign everybody. I would just worry more about Bo Dallas, who was his tag partner. Like, what are they doing with him? Because we haven't seen him as well for a long time. So maybe he's going to get cut as well.
Well, that's it. They let go of Axel. Bo Dallas, of course, is the brother of Bray Wyatt. Bray is safe. But their father, Mike Rotunda, was working backstage with the WWE, and he was one of the cuts when they made a big number of cuts there a couple weeks ago, right? So, of course, you know him as IRS or Mr. Wall Street in WCW. Mike Rotunda. Gerald Briscoe, with the company for 35 years, has been furloughed by the WWE. So they may bring him back. They may not. They haven't released him. They're saying it's a furlough, which means they expect to bring him back at some point. Don't know when. But he primarily works as a scout for the WWE, and really hard to scout talent right now given the social distancing rules and where you're going to go scout people. So I get the move, but man, they released Mike Chioda a couple weeks ago. They're releasing so many guys that have been with the company for so long, and now here, Gerald Briscoe. My goodness. I was a little surprised that they would release Briscoe. The guy has been a loyal subject of the WWE for so long. Just such an important part of the company. People don't really realize how important Gerald Briscoe's been over the years, but over the years, he's been like a right-hand man for Vince McMahon and finding a lot of the talent, finding guys like Brock Lesnar, That's all Gerald Briscoe, all the scouting, figuring out. I mean, Gerald Briscoe in his day was a great NWA World's Champion, very tough man. Serious amateur wrestler. No joke, Gerald Briscoe. People may have seen him as one of the Stooges and thought he was kind of a joke, or see him now, he's kind of an older guy. But Gerald Briscoe in his prime, my goodness, don't mess with that guy. Legit as legit comes. And now 35 years with World Wrestling Entertainment. Furloughed. Come on, Vince. Briscoe?
I kind of get it. Like you just said, like he was a scout. Like services aren't really needed right now. And again, I think he's going to be brought back. And he believes he's going to get brought back. He tweeted about it. He's pretty confident he's going to be brought back. So this is only for now.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel right that they would do that to a guy like Gerald Briscoe. But, tough times, I suppose. I don't know. Gerald Briscoe is one of those guys I got so much respect for. It seems disrespectful to release him or even furlough him at this or any point, given the years of service and dedication and loyalty to the WWE. To do that to Briscoe at this point seems wrong, but hey, it's the WWE, pal. Carmella has qualified for Money in the Bank. Otis has qualified for Money in the Bank. The women's Money in the Bank match is set. It will be Asuka versus Shayna Baszler versus Nia Jax versus Dana Brooke versus Lacey Evans versus Carmella. Who will win Money in the Bank, the women's match and the men's match here? Now, John, I preface this by saying we are both allowed to change our picks next week when we preview Money in the Bank. But this week, 1 week away from the show, who are you picking to win the women's and men's Money in the Bank? I already told you I had Jinder for the men's. Who's your men's pick right now?
Well, let's just keep this in mind that they announced it's official that both matches are going to take place at the exact same time. They announced that officially on SmackDown. So that makes it a little bit more intriguing. I was really hoping we'd get Otis and Mandy. I thought maybe they could play off that bit, but I guess now we're not going to play off that whatsoever. So that's too bad. So I don't think it would be Mandy at this point. I'm going to go with Shayna instead. And with the men, it really seems that mystery guy, whoever it is. He's the top pick right now.
Well, I told you my pick was Jinder as the mystery guy, and then Jinder to win. Give me a pick, John.
Yeah, I guess Jinder. I can't really think of anyone else from Raw because they have no one else to surprise us with. I mean, Triple H is obviously, you can never count out Triple H.
I would just
be different than you. I'll pick
I would much rather Triple H over Jinder. How about Brock? Where's Brock? Is Brock ever coming back?
Well, didn't he go back to Canada? He's done, isn't he? Didn't Vince say he was done?
Yeah. He did say on that conference call there for the quarterly earnings that Brock was done with the company. I don't know what that meant. Done for now or done?
Well, I guess we'll wait and see, right? Because Brock comes and goes, but wait and see.
I don't know. I was a little bit thrown off by that comment by Vince. I was like, what do you mean done? No more Brock? The Beast is gone? And if he is gone, if he isn't under contract to anybody, should AEW go after Brock Lesnar?
I think not, actually.
Really?
I wouldn't go after Brock. I mean, you need someone to wrestle Brock. Do they have someone to wrestle him, really? I don't find they do.
Kenny and Brock would be pretty cool.
You really have to sell me on that a lot more. Because Kenny, the way they're pushing Kenny, I don't see that.
Jericho and Brock have unfinished business from SummerSlam when Jericho got in Brock's face after the match with Randy Orton. Jericho, Brock.
All right, that's one.
Oh, I sold you on it, brother. Okay, how about this? Lance Archer, Brock. How about Jake Hager, Brock? Come on, man. There are matches in AEW for Brock.
The problem is they haven't built up enough guys in AEW that you could believe would beat Brock. Jericho's really the only one, unfortunately. So John, I don't know if it's really worth it.
Jon Moxley gets revenge. Talks about the last time he wrestled Brock. He was lazy. He was terrible. He didn't try. And this time he's going to bring out the beast in Brock, and he's going to take Brock to the limits. And Brock may have beat him last time, but this time he's really going to show Brock what Jon Moxley's all about. The last guy you faced was a different guy. Like, Jon Moxley wrestled Brock at WrestleMania. Jon Moxley as Dean Ambrose, but, there is a good story there. Moxley Brock, that's money, especially as the world champion.
Well, I think the big thing, what it comes down to, is money, right? And I'm sure Vince is going to offer more money. That's what it comes down to. He'd use AEW as a bargaining chip. That's pretty much it. But it's like Edge. Edge did the same thing, and he got more money in the end. So in the end, he'd just go back to WWE like he used them when he did UFC as well.
I would love Brock to just go fight Stipe Miocic already, or John Jones or something like that. That'd be more fun for me. That's where I would rather see Brock. Not AEW, not WWE. Let's see Brock head back to the UFC. Let's see Brock fight some dudes. That's always fun. I like that. Other things that I like, AEW Dynamite. Jon Moxley will be wrestling on Dynamite this week. It'll be a live episode of Dynamite. Jon Moxley, the AEW champion, taking on Frankie Kazarian. That's pretty cool. We will also have Cody Rhodes versus, Lance Archer. Set. That's not going to be on Dynamite. That's going to be a Double or Nothing, right? Cody Rhodes versus Lance Archer for the AEW TNT Championship. The finals of the tournament are official for Double or Nothing. But the big match coming up on Dynamite this week that I'm really excited about, more than Moxley and Kazarian, is Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega as a tag team for the first time ever, taking on Le Sex Gods, which is the tag team of Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. I love their tag team name, Le Sex Gods. It should be Les Sex Gods, but that's okay, Chris Jericho. You don't have to be grammatically correct. Le Champion doesn't have to be grammatically correct. And how about that Manitoba Melee? Or what was that called? Manitoba something?
You got it right, actually.
That was amazing. Lou Ferrigno was there. They were all battling through their cell phones. It was an episode of the Bubbly Bunch, Jay and Silent Bob, Virgil, one of the guys from Tiger King, Vicky Guerrero, all involved in the Manitoba Melee. There were some other guys that I didn't quite recognize. I think one of the guys was the singer from Slipknot without the mask. Am I right on that, John?
It could have been. I didn't really notice. I noticed Vicky. I noticed Virgil, Jay and Silent Bob. I didn't really notice the rest. I kind of just like, well, this is getting ridiculous.
You didn't recognize the guy who was like on the jet ski in Tiger King, the guy who was the informant? He was also in the Manitoba Melee. One of the Tiger King guys.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't catch that.
Well, go back and watch it again, John. It's worth checking out to see all the fun guest appearances on the Bubbly Bunch and the Manitoba Melee that happened on AEW this week. Jericho's the best, right? Like on commentary, in the ring, on the microphone, doing these weirdo promos. And then Jericho goes at the end, was that Lou Ferrigno with a taser? He was like, what was that? Even Jericho's confused by his own promo. Great stuff.
I thought it was all right. It was a nice little fun thing. I mean, it didn't really lead to anything more than just a bunch of fun cameos, but it's better than what most promos that we've seen. But Dynamite started off really good with Cody and Darby Allin. That's what helped them. And then the main event I thought was pretty solid. Just the finish was a little off on that one, but besides that, I thought it was good.
What did you not like about the finish to Archer and Dustin Rhodes? Lance Archer getting the win there, pinning him with the Iron Claw. You didn't like that?
Well, the Iron Claw, whatever. I mean, he hasn't used the Iron Claw, but it didn't really matter at that point. I mean, Dustin was already beaten.
He used it in New Japan. I've followed this guy for a long time. Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk, this current gimmick, was what he was doing in New Japan, and that Iron Claw was over big as a finish there, so I'm down with it.
But that's not the problem. The problem was that he exposed the turnbuckle blatantly in front of the referee. and then blatantly like slammed Dustin's head in it multiple times,
Yeah.
that's a disqualification.
Okay.
That's a problem. They gotta like understand what rules in wrestling are, because the refs look like crap most nights.
There are fewer rules in AEW. You can get away with more stuff. There are fewer disqualifications. I was surprised that Dustin was bleeding. He got color, brother.
Well, Dustin is awesome. Dustin had like 2 solid great weeks. I know you weren't a big fan of Dustin last week, but I really appreciate the effort he puts in there. Like, for a guy who's over 50, he looks fantastic. He's one of the best wrestlers they have. And it's kind of a shame it's not going to be him and Cody again, because I wouldn't have mind seeing that.
I thought the match was really good. I thought Dustin had a great match there with Lance Archer. I wasn't surprised that the match was good. I know Dustin Rhodes is really good, and I know Lance Archer's really good. How about that moonsault walk off the top rope there from Lance Archer? That was ridiculous. He's walking the top rope like doing the Undertaker old school thing, and then he turns around and does a moonsault, a perfect moonsault on Dustin. That was amazing. I've never seen him do that before.
No, Archer was great. Again, it was a good match. I just had that one problem with the finish there. And also Brandy coming out, too. That was kind of weird, because Brandy got taken out in the first match, and then she comes out in a new outfit. Doesn't even sell that she got hurt. But I think it's because of the taping. I guess they didn't tape that in the right order or something, so they weren't thinking that. But they should think about that when they do this stuff next time.
Yeah, maybe they could have sold that with Brandy a little bit more, or maybe, it's an hour and a half that's gone by and she's all right now. Who knows? I don't know. Lance Archer and Dustin Rhodes, I thought the match was really good. I was a bit surprised how big Dustin is. Like, you forget how huge Dustin is, but then he's standing there next to Lance Archer, who's like one of the bigger dudes in AEW, and they're the same size. I'm like, oh, wow, Dustin's gigantic. It's weird. Like, he's deceptively huge. He's only looks huge when he's next to the other huge guys, and you realize they're the same size. It's weird. I don't get it.
Well, that's why he looks like a giant compared to most guys that he wrestles, like Sammy Guevara or Kip Sabian, because he actually is gigantic. So, yeah, it's just he's been wrestling WWE for so long, Land of the Giants, so yeah, he didn't look that big, but really he is.
Yeah, he's a huge dude. Cody Rhodes beating Darby Allin. I thought that match was great. So it's going to be Cody versus Archer in the finals. Makes a lot of sense. Jake the Snake has been cutting promos on Cody with Archer there as his guy since Archer debuted in the company. So it seems like we're destined towards Cody versus Archer. What was your match of the week this week overall in professional wrestling? What was the best match you saw? I feel like it was probably Cody and Darby Allin. I don't know if I saw a better match this week on TV.
It's tough because it was definitely up there. But again, I had problems with that match because I didn't understand the whole Britt Baker getting involved in that situation. It was kind of really unnecessary, and it took away from that match. But I don't know if it hurts it enough that it wasn't still the best match that we saw.
Yeah, I think it was. Britt Baker promo I thought was really good on Dynamite at her dentistry office. I thought that was good. Britt Baker's just doing great. As far as her gimmick, her promos, she's a lot of fun to watch. Mr. Brody Lee beat Marco Stunt. That powerbomb that he hit him with to end the match was horrifying. My God. Marco Stunt takes a hell of a bump. That was just devastating.
But I think they knew that going into that. They know Marco's pretty much a bump machine.
Jeez.
And he's just going to make guys like that look good. So we're just going to see a lot more of that, I think, from Marco, where he just takes a beat and you can't believe he keeps fighting back.
That was shocking. That was truly shocking. Who's going to be the first ever AEW TNT champion, Cody or Lance?
Well, it's going to be interesting because I'm expecting Jake's going to come back for that, and I expect Arn Anderson's going to come back for that. So I bet there's going to be a bunch of interference. But my pick from the start was Archer, and I'm not going to switch.
I'm going with Cody. I think Cody's going to win. I think Cody's going to be the first TNT champion in AEW. I'm very much looking forward to AEW coming up on Wednesday night. That Matt Hardy, Kenny Omega tag team, my goodness, against Jericho and Guevara. Wow. NXT trying to stack the deck as well. They've got Charlotte Flair against Io Shirai for the NXT title, and Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream for the NXT title on the men's side as well. So, looks like it's going to be some pretty hotly contested Wednesday night wars. Will we start to see fans attending these shows? Apparently, the state of Florida is saying May the 4th will be the day when you can have shows, sporting events, at 25% capacity. So as long as there are social distancing rules in effect and you are only at 25% capacity, you can start allowing small numbers of fans into these shows to watch professional wrestling. Get me to Florida, brother. Yes.
Yeah, well, judging how the beaches are in Florida, they're not going to have a problem filling up that 25% capacity. It's kind of too bad. Raw has already been taped, and I think NXT was taped as well, so those shows, no matter what, will be empty. But AEW could actually be the first show that we see where it has a crowd again. But, I mean, they already have a crowd anyway, so does it really matter with the wrestlers?
Well, it would be a much bigger crowd if they operated at 25% capacity, man. They would have, some people in that building. Do you think the wrestling shows are actually going to start doing that? Are we going to start seeing some people in the building in the month of May to watch these wrestling shows? Like, will AEW have a small crowd for Double or Nothing on May 23rd?
I think it would help the show a lot, that's for sure. I mean, WWE more so than AEW because it just feels like there's a lack of energy in those shows, where AEW, at least with the wrestlers, it's helped a lot. But, I mean, if you can have fans, it's better, no?
I'm starting to wonder now, UFC 249. Are they going to have fans? It's May 9th. It's in Florida. If they say May 4th, you can have fans. May 9th, UFC 249. I wonder what Dana White is going to do. This is a real interesting development in the state of Florida. I mean, having these empty arena shows is one thing, but then allowing fans in there, operating at 25% capacity, that makes it interesting, man. That adds a whole new wrinkle to the story, and I wonder what the WWE, AEW, and the UFC are actually going to do. Will they say, okay, and open it up? They'll make some money off some tickets at least, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to put fans at risk. I don't know if they're going to do that. Interesting times we're living in, Johnny North. Very unique. Never seen anything like this before. Very strange times we're living in. Who's Leo Ruff? And what was that on SmackDown this week? Sheamus beat a guy called Leo Ruff. He kind of looked like Leo Rush. Like, were they trying to mock Leo Rush in some way? I know they released him a couple weeks ago. What's with the name Leo Ruff? Wasn't that a little too close to Leo Rush?
Yeah, I thought it was Leo Rush at first too when I heard it. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And then I saw on Twitter, like, someone posted like Leon Ruff, and I'm like, that's interesting. It feels like it is a shot on Leo Rush for whatever reason. I'm not sure if it is or not, but maybe they just can't come up with unique names and things just start sounding familiar for some reason.
I don't know. It was very strange. I was like, did they just say Leo Rush? I was like, no, Leo Ruff. I was like, okay. That was a strange one. So coming up here, will Becky Lynch ever show up on Raw again? They showed a promo for her. Where's Becky? Like, the star power on Raw, I'm really starting to wonder. Maybe post Money in the Bank we'll start seeing those stars trickle in, but I'm hoping to see some of the stars return to Raw. I'm hoping to see Becky, Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Edge, AJ Styles, the phenomenal one. Maybe even The Undertaker one day. That would be cool. But doesn't seem like any of that is happening. All we're seeing on Raw is, Liv Morgan beating Ruby Riott with the exact same finisher in the same match that we saw the week before on Raw. Why?
Because they have nothing else to fill time with, so they just give you a repeat match, and that's pretty much it. I'm really hoping that we see more of those backstage promos that we saw on SmackDown. I enjoyed those much more than these in-ring promos that we see. I don't know about you, it just feels like it's very awkward for them to come out and do a promo, and everyone always gets interrupted. I mean, I'd rather see it backstage than just them come out to the ring for a stupid entrance.
I thought Daniel Bryan's promo in the ring to start SmackDown was very well done. It was perfect. It was fine. It was really good.
I just enjoyed seeing like Ziggler backstage instead, like Otis backstage instead. I mean,
Yeah.
It just goes to show you can tell a story without going out to the ring and then obviously getting interrupted all the time.
Yeah, but I think that if you're a really, really good, exceptional performer, once in a generation talent like Daniel Bryan, you could pull it off. If you're just an average run-of-the-mill WWE superstar, you probably need those backstage promos, and that's just, that differentiates the good from the elite, and Daniel Bryan is obviously elite. It upset me, the Liv Morgan Ruby Riott thing, because, they have this long drawn-out story. Ruby attacks Liv. There's this whole thing, and they have the payoff match 2 weeks ago on Raw. Liv just wins in 3 minutes, and then they have the same match again the next week, and you figure, okay, Ruby's going to get her revenge here, and no, it's basically the same match, and Liv wins clean the exact same way as she won the week before. It doesn't really make Liv Morgan any better, any stronger, because, yeah, okay, we know you can beat Ruby. You did it last week. It makes Ruby look terrible. Really does nothing for either performer. It just pushes Ruby further down the card. She just returned. This is her big return program after being gone for like a year due to injury. Not a great return for Ruby Riott, looking like a total jabroni here for Liv Morgan, who's like not even in the women's Money in the Bank, not in the title picture, not really relevant on Raw. It makes no sense. And then Liv says, oh, I'm trying to figure out who I am, and I'm confident that I'll figure it out. I'm just like a lot of young people. I'm just trying to figure out who I am. You don't know who you are? Well, get the hell off my TV then. I don't want to see you. I don't know who I am. You're Liv Morgan. You're a professional wrestler. Figure it out. I don't know who I am. Just like a lot of people. Just trying to find myself, but I'm confident that I'll figure it out. Get the hell out of here with all that, Liv Morgan. That was terrible. Terrible. That was worse than the Viking Raiders promo from last week when they're in the car. Viking Raiders. That Liv Morgan promo was worse than that. Ugh.
Yep. But you saw the Viking Raiders corrected that. They were more serious this week, and they were on track again. So maybe Liv Morgan. To me, Liv Morgan, I don't know. They just gave her a promo, and she seemed kind of lost and didn't know really what to say. So hopefully next time around they'll give her direction and we'll have an idea where she's going, because clearly she has no idea where she's going.
Whew.
So it was kind of rough to watch that. But to be fair, but they just keep giving her the same stuff over and over again. I don't blame her if she doesn't know where she's going, because she just keeps going around in circles.
And then Asuka, Nia Jax, and Shayna are supposed to wrestle a triple threat match. I'm psyched. I'm like, yeah, this is going to be awesome. Asuka, Shayna, Nia, this is going to be good. They brawl for a while around the ring. Shayna and Asuka wind up outside the ring. Nia picks up a ladder, doesn't even throw it on them, just kind of drops it in the ring. And then her music hits, and we don't even have a match. The match never happened. They just brawled. What you're supposed to do is cut to commercial when Nia drops the ladder, and then we come back from commercial break, you have the triple threat match. But we didn't have that, because you had to make time for Bobby Lashley and Lana doing a promo, and then Bobby Lashley wrestling Denzel DeJournette, instead of giving us a real match on Raw that you could actually, sink your teeth into and enjoy. Asuka, Nia, Shayna, that's a match I wanted to see, and they just kind of said, nah, bait and switch. It's going to be a brawl for a bit, and then Nia's music's going to hit for no reason, and it'll be over. Segment over, because this is just a series of segments. You're watching a TV show. It's all a work. None of it's real or really worth watching. Really upset me. I was like, when Nia's music hit, I was like, what? What do you mean? What happened? Did she win? And then I realized, oh, no, they didn't even start the match, and they don't even plan on starting the match. Thanks.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about you. I never saw a referee, so I mean, it's really hard to start a match when you don't have an official to ever start a match. So it's kind of hard. But to be fair, I thought that brawl was actually very entertaining. I think it was better actually to have a brawl than have a match actually, because that stuff, just them fighting on the outside, that was pretty good.
It was all right. It was pretty short, and it really didn't give us a conclusive anything. I don't know. I thought we were going to have a match, but we didn't. Big Johnny North, I thought you were going to have some matches this summer, but I don't know, man. When can people see you next in a wrestling ring? What's your best guess?
Well, things are looking better now, right? Apparently, we're going to have shows with some fans in the crowd, so I think eventually that'll trickle down to Canada, one would hope, fingers crossed. I mean, they're saying September, August right now, some feds, so hopefully in the fall.
Well, hopefully in the fall. Continue to follow him on Twitter at North Genesis, on Instagram at Genesis Johnny North. You could follow me on all the things at Dave Simon MMA. Be sure to like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and when you do, click the bell so you get notifications every time that we are on. We are on every week here talking professional wrestling with Wrestling Uncensored. We do Dave and Johnny live as well every Friday afternoon at 12:45 on the YouTube channel and on the Facebook page. We go live. We talked about Dark Side of the Ring, the David Schultz story, the Dr. D slapping John Stossel incident, and the death of kayfabe in professional wrestling. We talked about that on this week's episode of Dave and Johnny Live that you can check out right now on our website, ringsidereport.net. Check out Ringside Report MMA as well. UFC 249 is taking place next week. We will preview the show this Thursday, 8 p.m. on Ringside Report MMA live on the YouTube channel. And next week here on Wrestling Uncensored, we will preview WWE's Money in the Bank, and we will also be live for Money in the Bank to watch it with you on Sunday night, next Sunday night, May 10th, WWE Money in the Bank for the watch along here on the channel. Thank you to everybody listening to us in Radio Land, everybody on the podcast, everybody watching us here, everybody watching the premiere of the show on YouTube as well. We appreciate you big time. For Johnny North, I am Dave Simon, and this has been Wrestling Uncensored. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.